Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I'm going to be making an apple pie from scratch with some fresh apples that I picked from the apple orchard. My husband and I went to the apple orchard and we were just walking around tasting some fresh apple cider, which was really good. And we got on the tractor and it drove us like farther out where most of the apples were, because we went kind of later in the season. As you can see, there were a lot of apples that already fallen, and we did end up finding a lot of apples once they drove us farther out into the orchard. And we picked apples. The ones that we picked were called Golden de Rosa, and these apples were slightly tart, slightly sweet apples. And we picked some other apples too. We might have had a couple like random apples, but majority of them were called Golden de Rosa, which were these apples right here. And they're good for like baking and canning and making, I think, applesauce as well. So I'm going to go ahead and start on the apple pie. I'm using a recipe. I forget the lady's name, but I will definitely link her recipe down in the description box. But it was super easy to make the crust and the apple pie filling. Now, I have never made a pie crust from scratch before, and it did call for a food processor, and I do not own a food processor, but I do own a blender, so I just used what I had. One thing I would say is that I did not add enough water to the crust initially, so that's why it's kind of like crumbly there. I did go back and add a few teaspoons of water at a time because I was so scared that I was going to put too much water in it, and that would have caused a bigger issue. But I added enough water, I guess. It turned out good, so I could have added some more water because, as you can see, it's still a bit crumbly, but it still worked out. So now I'm just going to put the pie crust in the plastic wrap, and you're supposed to put in the refrigerator for at least an hour. I let mine sit in the refrigerator for 1 day. Then I took them back out, and then I made my filling for my apple pie. So on to the apple pie filling. It was easy. This recipe is super easy. And again, I will link the channel in my description box, but it was really easy and it was so good. Like, apple pie to me is supposed to be like sweet and tart. And this recipe was the perfect blend of sweetness and tart. Now, I would say it does depend on the apples you use as well, because some apples are too tart and some apples are too sweet. So I feel like you need to find a slightly sweet, slightly tart apple for you to make like the perfect apple pie. And then this recipe really helped as well. It calls for sugar, butter. I think I put water in it, and it was something else I forgot. Again, the recipe is down in the description box. Let it cook to like a nice gel-like consistency, because once you put it in the oven, you know, you're like this consistency. So this is like the perfect consistency, because once you put it in the oven, the apples are going to release a little bit of water so that it's not going to be like too thick for you. So now I'm getting ready to prepare my apples. I'm using about 7 apples for my apple pie, and I'm just going to peel them first, take the skin off of them first, and then I'm going to begin to slice them. Now, I don't want them too thick because I don't like thick apples in my apple pie, and I don't want them too thin to the point where they will fall apart. I will show you the size that I end up using, but again, for me, my apple pie, I don't like thick apples. I don't like to bite down and the apples are thick or they're still kind of crunchy. Because I think if you leave them too thick, then it'll be harder for them to cook and to become soft in the oven in the allotted time that you need for the apple pie to bake in the oven. So it's just good to try to find that perfect size so that they won't be too thick or too thin. So I just wanted to show you the size that worked for my apple pie. These were not too thick and not too thin. They baked perfectly in the oven. And so now I'm going to add some cinnamon to my apples and give them a good stir. And then go ahead and add my apple pie filling. So now it's time for me to get to rolling out this dough. And I've had this rolling pin for years. I'm talking like 5 to 7 years. This is my first time using this. My first time ever using this rolling pin. I bought it for some other recipe that I wanted to do. But I don't know, just making homemade dough and having to roll it out just was so intimidating to me. So I just never did it. But I don't know, for some reason, this was super easy. And I know it's probably easy. It's just that it just always looked so intimidating to me. But it was easy. So I'm glad I actually broke it in and used it. Because yeah, it's just been sitting in my drawer for years and I've never used this rolling pin. So now I have to roll out the top crust for the apple pie, which I'm going to be making a lattice top. And I had a little bit more confidence with this one because I'd already, did the first one. So I had a little bit more confidence. You can tell I'm working hard because I got flour all over. But it turned out really good. I'm like really proud of myself right now. because it just really turned out good. Like for my first time making this, it was, the taste was good. It looked pretty good. It wasn't the prettiest looking pie, but it turned out to look pretty good as well. I think it's Thanksgiving approved in my opinion. So I'm very proud of myself right now. So I did have to play around a bit with the lattice top. I did mess up a bit on my first time, but I did go back and switch some things around and fixed my mistakes on it, and it turned out pretty cute. And so then there it is. So yeah, I fixed it and now it looks better. I fixed the sides, tucked them in so that it can look cute going into the oven. I'm just putting on egg wash on it so that I can get that nice color. And I placed it in the oven and it turned out really good. I'm so happy about it. Now the sides, the crust are not the prettiest, but it still turned out really good. I will be making this again for Thanksgiving. So let me know down in the comments if and what are you going to be making for dessert on Thanksgiving. Thank you for tuning in today and watching me bake my first apple pie. This was so much fun, and I will see you in my next video. Happy Thanksgiving.